Howdy, y'all. I'm Justin.
And I'm Kim.
Welcome to Cowboys Like Us, the podcast where we talk about Taylor Swift and her music. Yeehaw. Hello, and welcome once again to Cowboys Like Us, the only podcast entirely dedicated to breaking down the cultural impact of the Baja Men's iconic song, Who Let the Dogs Out? Who indeed? It was the Kaiser, in fact. Spoiler alert. But we'll get there. Today, we're talking about Tolerate It from Evermore. But first, we got some poll results for you. Ours, y'all voted, and you gave it a 7. And you gave a 7 to Everything Has Changed as well. So, pretty average, according to the people.
High average.
In other pod business, we had our baby shower for the pod baby.
Yeah.
This past weekend. And I just want to say that I know a lot of people who were there listen to this podcast. And so I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for coming and the gifts. And it really means a lot to me because becoming a parent is a daunting challenge. And it made me feel better to know that got a lot of people in our corner who support us.
We have a village.
Yeah, that made me feel good. So I appreciate it.
Did you think no one was going to show up?
I always do. Anytime I host anything. No one cares about me. That's what I think.
Other pod business, I'm struggling. I don't know if it was this weekend. I don't know if it's left over from the struggles of last week. I don't know what's going on. But I probably have the flu. So I sound awful. And apologies.
Indeed. But we are going to power through because we got that dog in us. And let's move right along to news. News from around the Taylorverse. First up, the Eras Tour is back. The South American leg is underway. Taylor performed her first Buenos Aires show on Thursday, November 9th. The second was going to be on the 10th, but was postponed due to thunderous lightning. And she then performed on the 11th and 12th. Finished up her 3-date residence in Argentina. Naturally, the Argentinian Swifties were very hyped. They routinely were doing a football-inspired Ole chant in Taylor's honor that people had a lot of fun with. And now Taylor is back in New York, where she will have a couple of days off before heading back down to South America for a 6-concert stand in 2 cities in Brazil, Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, people don't like that she flew back to New York. They're like, oh, the carbon emissions. But like, Taylor's gonna do what Taylor wants to do, so.
If I may quote friend of the pod, Haley Williams, if you could, then you know you would, because God, it just feels so good. Yep. That's why you're mad, because you don't have a private jet, nerd.
Yeah.
You're never going to get one with that attitude. Speaking of international, Travis Kelce joined Taylor down in Argentina, as had been rumored. He attended Taylor's second Buenos Aires show on Saturday. He was in a VIP area with Taylor's dad, Scott. He sang and he danced. Seemed to be having a great time. At one point, Taylor changed a lyric in Karma to shout Travis out. Instead of Karma's the guy on the screen, she sang Karma's that guy on the cheeks. And Travis was excited about that.
This entire experience of Travis being in Argentina has been my everything.
She also performed in-game acoustically as a surprise song, which seemed appropriate. A-team, first string, etc. Sports metaphors. And then after the show, Taylor ran up to Travis and planted one on him.
Yeah.
I mean, she got in there.
Yeah, she did.
Yep, held it for a good while.
There was a second kiss, too. More angles have come out. Now you can see the second kiss.
Was there visible tongue? Could you tell?
No tongue that I could tell. It was very cute, though. And Travis was a proper gentleman. stood there with his hands behind his back, let her do what she wanted to do until she was right up on him, and then he, gave her a hug. Taylor's dad really seems to be in on this relationship.
Yeah.
Super supportive.
He had a Chiefs lanyard on.
Yeah.
Despite his lifelong Eagles fandom.
Yeah.
Travis has converted everybody, I guess, in the Swift house.
Travis and Jason talked about it on their podcast release today as we're recording this. That he gave it to him at dinner the night before. And that was the first time he met him. And he said that he converted him. He said something along the lines of like getting all the good people onto the Chiefs side or whatever. And Jason had words for Scott about giving up a lifelong fandom.
Yep.
For a really nice looking boyfriend of your daughter.
Yep. I can empathize with Jason, You've made a commitment. You gotta be strong. Hold it. And yet, there are people out there in this world who are trying to interfere with Taylor's happiness. People are trying to start shit, where there ain't no shit. In the past couple of weeks, both Selena Gomez and Gigi Hadid, members of Taylor's Girl Squad, have been reported by, quote, anonymous sources to have problems with Taylor and Travis's relationship. They think Taylor's moving too fast, it's not like her, etc., etc., etc. But Gigi Hadid addressed that this week, saying on Instagram, I'm a couple of days late to this tag, but didn't the press try this last week with Selena? Let it be. We are all over the moon for our girl, period. And I just want to say to Mr. Perez Hilton and his ilk, he has been in on this. Which, first of all, why is he still a thing that exists
No idea.
in the year of our Lord 2023? But anyway, this isn't junior high. A couple of grown adults in their 30s are dating, and their friends are supportive, as friends are supposed to be. Stop with the bullshit clout chasing. Anonymous source equals my own ass, as far as I'm concerned.
No. I don't know why anybody thinks that we're falling for that bullshit these days.
If you don't put your name on it, then you don't stand behind it. And I'm not going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that upset me, stop throwing shit during concerts. Guys who've talked about this. We've talked about it lots of times. And yet, it persists. At her third Buenos Aires show, someone threw 2 bras on stage near Taylor. Taylor then took a moment to say, just because communication means having gentle, healthy boundaries, it really freaks me out when stuff gets thrown on the stage. Because if it's on the stage, then the dancer can trip on it. I love that you brought presents, and that is so nice, but just can you please not throw them on the stage? I love you so much. And I just want to say, for me, that Taylor's response was extremely tactful and kind and empathetic, as is her wont, but it shouldn't have had to be. She is essentially apologizing for not liking having shit thrown at her. But if she was more aggressive in response to it, as she would have every right to be, people would say she's being a bitch because our society hates women who don't let people walk all over them, and it's gross. So allow me to just say what Taylor should have said. Hey, assholes, stop fucking throwing shit at me. I will have security throw your ass out. That's all it needed to be. Don't throw shit at artists. Also, bras aren't presents, bro. What kind of weird shit is that? Don't throw underwear on the stage.
Yeah, again, she was trying to be nice and gentle by calling it a present, knowing good and well that it was somebody's nasty ass bra.
Mm-hmm. You've been sweating all day in the Argentinian heat. The swamp ass. Like you wouldn't believe. Nobody wants that shit. Keep it on your body. Moving on. Travel agency, Marvelous Mouse Travels, has announced that they are organizing a Taylor Swift-themed cruise. And they say, join us as we celebrate all things Taylor, make new friends, dress up in our favorite eras, trade friendship bracelets, and enjoy everything this amazing ship has to offer. It is called In My Cruise Era, and it will be on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship in fall 2024. It will depart from Miami, Florida. There's room for 5,500 Swifties, and ticket prices begin at $1,573. Taylor Swift herself is not involved with the cruise in any way. She will not be on it. So if you're going with the hope of seeing her, don't do that.
If anybody wants to go with me, Both Madeline and Justin refuse to go on cruises.
I am scared of the poop-filled nightmare that happened at that one cruise ship that ended up landing in Mobile that time. I was right there. I was right there for the human misery. I didn't care for it. I wasn't on the boat. I was on the shore. I saw it come in. And that was close enough. The Grammys have announced their 2023 nominees. For anyone who may not know, the Grammys are to music what the Oscars are for the movies, or Tonys are for plays. They're the big one. There's lots of music awards, but the Grammys, they're the big boys. And Taylor, she picked up 6 nominations this year. Record of the Year, she's nominated for Anti-Hero. Album of the Year for Midnights. Song of the Year for Anti-Hero. Best Pop Solo Performance for Anti-Hero. Best Pop Duo or Group Performance for Karma with Ice Spice. And Best Pop Vocal Album for Midnights. A quick little note. What's the difference between Record of the Year and Song of the Year? One is a artist award, and the other is a songwriter award. They don't make that super clear. But Song of the Year is for the songwriter, which Taylor Swift also is. So she's double nominated. But Taylor was not alone in her nominations. A lot of people got a bunch, including some friends of the pod. Miss Phoebe Bridgers got 7. Jack Antonoff got 6, as did Olivia Rodrigo. Lana Del Rey got 5. Ice Spice got 4. Kendrick Lamar got 3. Chris Stapleton got 3. Paramore got 2 nominations. And Gracie Abrams got 1 nomination for Best New Artist, which we hope she doesn't win because it's cursed. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Any other news you wanted to mention?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Alright. Let's move on then to Chart Watch. On the Billboard Artist 100, Taylor stayed put at number 1. On the Billboard Hot 100 Singles Chart, Cruel Summer is up 5 spots, reclaiming its throne, number 1 this week. Is It Over Now dropped 2 spots to number 3. Now That We Don't Talk dropped 10 spots to number 12. Say Don't Go dropped 21 to number 26. Slut dropped 28 spots to number 31. Style TV down 36 spots to number 45. Bad Blood TV down 40 spots to number 47. Suburban Legends down 40 to 50. Blank Space TV down 47 spots to number 59. Wildest Dreams TV down 53 spots to 72. Out of the Woods TV down 57 spots to number 73. Welcome to New York down 63 spots to number 77. Shake It Off TV down 55 to number 83. All You Had to Do Was Stay TV down 69. Nice. Spots to number 89. New Romantics TV down 63 spots to number 92. And Clean TV down 66 spots to number 96.
69, but they're mad at each other.
Yeah. Everything is beginning of tumbling off, as was expected. Some of them did drop out altogether. Anti-Hero finally is out of the chart. Maybe it will come back. I Wish You Would TV is out, as is How You Get the Girl TV, This Love TV, I Know Places TV, Wonderland TV, and Kimberly's favorite from 1989, You Are in Love TV.
Yep.
On the Billboard Top 200 Albums chart, 1989 TV stayed put at number 1. Midnights is down 2 to number 9. Lovers down 3 to number 11. Folklore is down 1 at number 15. Speak Now TV down 1 to 20. Reputation stayed put at 24. Red TV dropped 2 spots to 25. Evermore stayed at 27. Fearless TV dropped 4 spots to 51. And 1989, the stolen version, down 24 spots to number 53. Not dropping fast enough for me. You gotta get in there. You gotta knock it down.
Yeah, why are we even listening to the old one anymore?
Yep. It's because there are some people who think that the original mixes are better because they have no taste.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
They're the same motherfuckers who are like, oh, I prefer imitation crab because I think I like the consistency better or whatever the hell. Get the hell out of here. Well, did you think of the news you wanted to talk about or no? All right. In that case, let's go to Kimberly's Clown Corner. Kimberly's Clown Corner.
Again, I don't feel great. So, This is going to be a quick clown corner. We're just going to talk about some follow-up things. So, obviously, the elephant in the room. We did not get the double drop.
Who could have foreseen it?
Here's the thing, though. My original prophecy was that she would announce it on the night, if we didn't get it with 1989.
Mm-hmm.
It being the black and white version that is full of features.
Right.
She would announce it on the 9th, release on the 10th. The other option was that she announced on the 10th. Obviously, the 10th show got postponed. So, pretty much everyone at this point who was expecting something to happen on the 10th is convinced that because she had to postpone the show, that's why we didn't get an announcement. And what does that mean for the double drop? Does the album exist and we'll just get it at a later time? She has to redo her plan. Was her plan originally to drop Reputation instead, or announce Reputation on the anniversary of Reputation? And has that also been disrupted? The world may never know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Indeed. I am of the opinion that there never was a black and white album. And I have been upfront with that, and I feel vindicated.
So obviously the other double drop theory that had been floating around was that she was going to announce Reputation on the show at the show on the 10th. And again, that show didn't happen, got postponed. So at the show on the 11th, she started kind of hinting during the acoustic set that something crazy was going to happen.
Mm.
She was being suspicious, and she started off the acoustic section by saying that we had 2 re-records come out this year, Speak Now, Taylor's version, and then 1989 most recently, and everybody in the crowd thought that meant that she was teasing that she was about to announce another one to put 3 in 1 year. So the crowd started chanting, Reputation, Reputation, and she couldn't tell what they were saying, so she took her in-ears out. She kind of stared around for a minute trying to hear what they were saying, and then she looked down at somebody in the crowd or a security guard or something and was like, what are they saying? And they said Reputation. And then she just kind of laughed and paused, put her in-ear back in, and then said, now go sit in the corner and think about what you did. And of course, that is the opening line to Better Than Revenge. So she was hinting at the fact that she was about to perform one of the songs from Speak Now and then one of the songs from 1989 because she went on to sing Slut on the piano.
So, it was in fact not a Reputation tease, you think?
I don't know.
Or just a bait and switch?
I think she knows what she's doing, and she's messing with us. Especially because that opening line of Better Than Revenge is so Reputation, you know?
Yeah, just the theme.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Some people think that because they started chanting Reputation, we didn't get Reputation. I think that's a stretch. I think she was messing with us on purpose. One more piece of catch-up clownery news. If you listen to our Halloween minisode, or what do we call them? Halloween bonus episode.
The Halloween special.
We talked a lot of the Lover House. And if you saw it on our social media, the pictures that we put up so you could follow along, Taylor did a switch up on us and released a holiday merch line and revamped the Lover House to be called Holiday House, which of course is also the name of her house in Rhode Island.
Synergy.
In Holiday House, instead of the Lover House, there are little changes, like there's a light out front that's now a mailbox, and there's a tree off to the side that's covered in Christmas decorations, because obviously it's a holiday release. In the midnight sky that is representative of the Midnight's era, there is a moon, a full moon, where there wasn't before. And then some other little things have changed within the rooms. But one that relates back to Reputation is that in the attic, where that is representative of Reputation, there used to be a sheet up where you could project, movies or whatever. But there was nothing on the screen in the Lover House. And there was no one in the attic. And now there is what looks like home movie playing. And Taylor is sitting in the attic watching the movie. It is reminiscent of the Christmas movie Christmas Vacation, if anyone is familiar with that. I'm sure some of you are. When he gets trapped in the attic and he watches all the old home movies. Just a little fun fact. That movie came out December 1st, 1989. So, is it a nod to that? Is it a date? Are we getting something on the 1st? Who knows? Other things of note. There was never a person walking up the stairs in the little Evermore staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Or walking up the ladder into the attic in the Evermore staircase. And now there is. Taylor is walking up into the attic of Reputation. And then on the spiral staircase for Folklore, there is Taylor and a man walking up the staircase. So, what does any of it mean? Who knows? But things have changed. But to connect, so this connects to Reputation, but it also connects to our last bit of clownery about Ellie Conway. Because in this drop of holiday merch, in the red line, I do believe, there is a Argyle sweater for sale.
The same name as the book.
Yeah. And if you remember, in the All Too Well 10-minute version short film, Taylor kind of looks like she's playing, I guess, herself, but as a novelist. And she looks like Bryce Dallas Howard, who's playing Ellie Conway in the movie. And again, she's a writer. And now there's an Argyle sweater. So, either she's messing with us too, they're in it together, or she is Ellie Conway.
Friend of the pod, Victoria,
Yes.
told me today that she has seen on the librarian side of book purchasing that pre-orders for Argyle are already a thing. So it's a real book that exists. Whether or not it was written by the writers of the film strictly as a PR stunt, or whether it is a secret celebrity like Taylor, she has no insight on that. But the book, it does exist.
Confirmed then if they're taking pre-orders, then it should be coming out in January, like predicted.
There is a book, and it will be out soon, and we'll see.
Alrighty.
We'll see what we see.
So anyway, those are just some clown wrap-ups for you.
Alright, let's get into song facts. Tolerate It was originally released on Evermore in December of 2020. It was written by Taylor Swift and Mr. Aaron Dessner, and Aaron produced the song as well. Chart info, Tolerate It reached number 45 on the Billboard 100 chart. What has Taylor said about this song? Well, Taylor has said, quote, "When I was reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, I was thinking, wow, her husband just tolerates her. She's doing all these things, and she's trying so hard, and she's trying to impress him, and he's just tolerating her the whole time. There was a part of me that was relating to that, because at some point in my life, I felt that way." And just my little note here, Justin's note, a film adaptation of the novel Rebecca was released back in 1940. It was directed by a man you may have heard of, Alfred Hitchcock, and he won the Academy Award for Best Picture for that movie. So, the more you know. What has Mr. Dessner said about it?
When I wrote the piano track to Tolerate It right before I sent it to her, I thought, this song is intense. It is in 10/8, which is an odd time signature. And I did think for a second, maybe I shouldn't send it to her. She won't be into it. But I sent it to her, and it conjured a scene in her mind, and she wrote this crushingly beautiful song to it and sent it back. I think I cried when I first heard it. But it just felt like the most natural thing, you know? There weren't limitations to the process. And in the places where we were pushing into more experimental sounds or odd time signatures, that just felt like part of the work.
All right. And my note here on this one. So basically every genre of popular music today uses 4/4 time, almost exclusively. If artists want to get a little wild, they'll occasionally venture out to 3/4, 3/4 time. Particularly R&B uses out of 3/4. Some types of Latin music will use 2/4, 2/4. 10/8 is way out of normal. It's used very sparingly for little pieces of larger classical works. And that's about it. So, if you thought, there's something weird about this Tolerated song, just sounds weird. That's what it is. On to the critical reception. According to Tyler's Tea Time, Tolerated is, quote, not my favorite, and difficult to get into. Perhaps because of the Odd Time signature. Slate called it numbing and disappointing. Central Times called it one of Taylor's more unique songs. The Utah Statesman said it has some of the most heartbreaking lyrics on Evermore. Insider called it the most powerful and devastating song on Evermore. Highlight called it gut-wrenching, and the Marquette Messenger gave it an 8.5 of 10 and said that it's one of the saddest songs on Evermore. What about the fans? Do they enjoy it?
Rob Sheffield rated it number 94 out of Taylor's discography. Rob said it, quote, feels like a Carole King song from the 70s.
I don't know what she sang, so I can't say if that's accurate or not.
I've heard of Carole King. I probably have heard her stuff, but
I feel
it doesn't come to mind.
Yeah, same way.
The Taylor Swift Reddit ranked it 8 out of 17 tracks in their Evermore Survivor game.
So pretty mid, according to them. Rob, slightly above mid. We'll see what we think in a minute. But for now, let's get into the lyric. Verse number 1. I sit and watch you reading with your head low. I wake and watch you breathing with your eyes closed. I sit and watch you. I notice everything you do or don't do. You're so much older and wiser. And The speaker is positioning herself as an observer of our partner. They've relegated her to that role instead of actually treating her as a fully realized human being with agency who is in this relationship as an equal partner. She's very passive because that is what the relationship and her partner have forced her into being. On to the chorus. I wait by the door like I'm just a kid. Use my best colors for your portrait. Lay the table with the fancy shit and watch you tolerate it. It's all in my head. Tell me now. Tell me I've got it wrong somehow. I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it. So the speaker feels infantilized, like a child, waiting for her daddy to come home. And the line, use my best colors for your portrait, is very interesting, very cool line. I think the speaker is creating an idealized version of her partner in her mind, but in doing so, she takes something from herself, the best parts, and that leaves her dull and dim in comparison. So yeah, it's just really draining the color from her as she tries to create this illusion that will allow her to be happy in this loveless relationship she's in. Rather grim stuff, really. It's hard being in a relationship with someone who doesn't return the warmth and the care that you put out. Or to put it another way, there are many different ways that you can kill the one you love. The slowest way is never loving them enough. Taylor Swift. High infidelity? I think so. Verse number 2. I greet you with a battle hero's welcome. I take your indiscretions, all in good fun. I sit and listen. I polish plates until they gleam and glisten. You're so much older and wiser, and This feels like what happened to the girl from the song Superman. She worshipped a man who turned out to be far more ordinary than she realized. This is the sequel to Superman in my mind. Why do so many women fall for creepy older dudes? What is it about them that's so appealing?
I don't know, Justin. Why don't you tell us?
I think, well, not really for me to say, but I think women correctly assume that the guys their age are less mature than they, which is usually, I think, the case.
I was going to say, I find that to be true in most situations.
I do too. But they incorrectly assume that the old guy who's interested in them must be more mature because he's older. When, if he was so much more mature, he'd be dating someone his own age. He's stunted, so he's back at your level, maybe. Mm-hmm. Or perhaps even earlier than that.
Yeah.
That's why he can't have a relationship with another grown-up, because she would immediately spot his bullshit and not tolerate it. Under the bridge, while you were out building other worlds, where was I? Where's that man who threw blankets over my barbed wire, made you my temple, my mural, my sky? Now I'm begging for footnotes in the story of your life, drawing hearts in the byline, always taking up too much space or time. You assume I'm fine, but what would you do if I? This is interesting, again, because you have to assume, if anything, that Taylor's partners might feel this way. Not Taylor herself, because she's the one who is out there taking over the world. And meanwhile, what the hell is this guy doing? Throwing a blanket over barbed wire is how one might escape from a prison, a concentration camp, anywhere like that. And what did the partner help the speaker escape from. I think it could be sort of similar to Getaway Car in that way. She was in a bad relationship, and this new partner threw blankets over the barbed wire. She climbed to freedom with him, rode off in the getaway car, but then fleeting, and it was fun, but now it's gone, and you're back in prison again, a different one of your own making. And that's a tough thing. Very tough thing. Nothing good starts in the getaway car. Under the final chorus, break free and leave us in ruins. Took this dagger into me and removed it. Gain the weight of you, then lose it. Believe me, I could do it. It's all in my head. Tell me now. Tell me I've got it wrong somehow. I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it. To quote Fall Out Boy, every lover's got a little dagger in their hand. The ones who we are closest to have the ability to hurt us the most, cut us the deepest, because they are within reach to stab us with a dagger of emotion. They know where our armor is weakest, because we confided them. So they know exactly where to cut you, where to stab you, that will hurt the most. So when a relationship ends and love turns to resentment and bitterness, it can get really ugly and painful for everyone involved. But the speaker is defiant and saying that she's willing to be strong enough to break away from this relationship, even though it will indeed cause her tremendous pain. She can and will get through it because she wants to be with someone who celebrates her and her love, like Travis Kelce does.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's it for lyrics. Do you have anything else?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into your thoughts. Well, let's let Madeline go first.
Okay, that's fine.
It gets gay in the grotto.
Heyo, Pod Gremlin may be here. This week on the Gay Grotto, we're answering the question, why is Tolerated on so many sad gay playlists? Well, let me give you some perspective. This song is a ballad on having homophobic parents. Important side note, in my opinion, that's not what Taylor intended when she wrote the song. This is just a popular fan interpretation. Alright, that aside. This genre of queer, that being those with homophobic or transphobic parentals or families, can particularly relate to the lines, I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it. This is a central dynamic that often occurs in these households. This particular soundbite gained popularity on TikTok, with people making videos over the sound or with the sound over it, depicting their parents' anger at their queerness, whether it be open queerness or them coming out originally, or just wearing something or portraying their own identities in a way that their parents don't agree. I personally relate on this level to the verse, I greet you with a battle hero's welcome. I take your indiscretions all in good fun. I sit and listen. I polish plates until they gleam and glisten. You're so much older and wiser. Well, I was told, and I continue to be told, that my queer self and particularly my left-leaning politics will iron themselves out as I age. My father especially expects me to turn out like my parents because they are, quote-unquote, older and wiser. But yes, we sit and we take our parents' indiscretions and their homophobic or transphobic jokes, and we continue to serve our parents like good children in many circumstances because we must, and in others because we choose to do so for one reason or another. It's a sad take, but it's an important one. It's not safe for so many people to come out to their families, no matter what age they are. Tolerate It has thus joined many a sad playlist on the subject.
All right. Yeah. So, I just want to say, real quick, off the grotto, I read this when Madeline wrote it up in the show doc, and I was at work. And I was just sitting at my desk, just seething at the thought of people not being able to love and appreciate their gay, lesbian, some other sort of queer, trans, whatever it may be, child. And that's just so upsetting that that's still a thing that is around. But it definitely is. And I just want to say to anybody out there, if you have a kid and they come to you and they say that they're gay or whatever, the only proper response that you should have is cool. I love you. I support you 100%. Always on your team. Any other response is the wrong response. Any justification you may think you have to say something else is invalid. I promise it is. And you're probably sitting there thinking, well, Justin, you don't know what mine is. But it doesn't matter, because it is invalid. Even yours, specifically. Your reasoning is invalid. If your set of beliefs, whatever they may be, prevent you from loving and accepting your child for who they are, then the problem is not with your child, it is with your beliefs. And that is all. Thank you. Kimberly, what are your thoughts?
So overall, like we've touched on, this is a sad song. I love a good sad song, but I gotta be in the right mood to listen to sad music, you know? I'm not always looking to get farther into my depression.
Right.
So, before the Eras tour, this song was not really a go-to for me on Evermore. Got me in my feels a lot, and like you said, it's just, sound-wise, a little bit of a weird song.
Right.
So it was, a lot of the time, a skip for me, but then she turned it into basically a cinematic masterpiece in the Eras tour movie, and that definitely bumped the song up for me. It's still not one of my favorites on Evermore, but it's definitely higher than it was.
Okay. My thoughts are very similar to yours. Much like you, when Evermore came out, I thought this was a pretty minor song that I would just skip most listens, because there are a lot better songs on it, in my opinion, that I would want to get to, and so I would just skip Tolerate It. But when we went to see the Eras Tour film, that did up my appreciation for this song a bit. I think it's visually very cool. I think Taylor does a good job of acting, showing the emotion behind the song, making it feel a little bit more real, a little bit more tangible, and making me as a listener connect with it a bit more. So that definitely helped me appreciate it as an artistic statement a little more. I think it's a sad song, so like you, I just ain't got enough dog in me sometimes to listen to it. But I think it's sad in a very relatable way. I think we've all been in relationships like this at some point. It's tough, because everything is mostly fine. Like, you don't have a big smoking gun to point to as to why you're not happy. So then you say to yourself, well, maybe I'm just being dramatic. Maybe there's nothing that bad going on. But inside, you're just like, isn't there more than this? Didn't I want more from life? Couldn't I find more somewhere else? And then you feel bad for having those thoughts because it is mostly fine, you know? But once you break the cycle and you find someone who does tolerate you and your love like you deserve, you wonder how you ever tolerated your previous partner's toleration. Because it's exhausting and soul-sucking and, yeah, just a fucking bummer. Let's get on to ratings. For anyone who may not be aware, we rate every song on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 is very bad, 10 is very good, 5 is very mid. Kimberly, how do you rate Tolerate It?
I'm gonna give it a 5 for all the reasons that I said. Some people may think that's a little low, but I think before the movie came out, it was probably like a 3 or a 4 for me. And I could waver a little bit up to a 6, but I think 5 feels good.
Okay. For me, I like it a little better than Kimberly does. Well, like it is not exactly what I mean, but I appreciate it more, I think, as what it is. So I will give it a 7. I think it's a good song. I don't think it's one of Taylor's greatest songs by any stretch. I don't even think it's one of the best songs on Evermore. But I think it accomplishes what it sets out to. And I admire Taylor for having the guts to experiment with a weird little odd time song that Aaron sent her. She had that dog in her, and she made a song. Good for her. And then Madeline, how do you rate it?
Pod Gremlin Maybe's rating. I give Tolerated a 7. It's a good song. It makes me sad. The melancholic piano is beautiful. The Eras Tour performance itself is closer to an 8 for me, but the song is a 7. It's above average, but it's not going to beat many of the songs in Taylor's discography.
All right. If you'd like to tell us what you rate Tolerate It, you can do so in the poll, which is in our episode description here on Spotify or on our various social media platforms. We are on X, and we are on Instagram, and we are on Threads at
CBLU_podcast.
Indeed. And here's some pod business that I almost forgot.
Yep.
We now have a YouTube account and a TikTok account.
Yeah.
There ain't much on either one yet.
We're working on it.
But it's in progress. YouTube, we're going to post episodes on there. So if you're listening to this one, you've probably listened to everything that'll be on the YouTube for a little bit. But Madeline's going to be doing some cool stuff on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So follow us there. If you have people in your life who don't have a podcast app, direct them to YouTube. They'll be months behind, but that's their own business. Yeah. So I think that's about it for this week. What are we going to talk about next week?
Nobody, no crime.
Indeed. You mentioned last week we should maybe complete the trilogy in 3 weeks. And I decided, yes, we should. Get Nobody, No Crime out of the way, you know. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Nobody, No Crime next week. So tune in for that. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Follow us on social media. And until then, we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Pod Gremlin Maybe here. Thanks for listening to Cowboys Like Us. Follow us on all platforms at CBLU_podcast. You can find us on Instagram, X, the zombie Twitter, TikTok, and Threads. We're now posting our episodes on YouTube. Head over there and like and subscribe. All of these links can be found in our link tree in the episode description. Thanks for supporting the pod. Y'all come back now, you hear?